Hello and welcome to my channel. I am so glad you have joined me today because this tutorial may just help you to create a stunning piece of artwork that you may have never thought of it is possible. So I have already sketched the hummingbird and have started painting. The first step I always do is wet on wet technique. Once I give the water wash, I just apply a very light shade on my paper. Here I am using ultramarine blue and some sap green. For the first layer, try to use a very light shades for your painting. Here I am repeating the same process which is called wet on wet technique. So the grays which I am using, I always mix all the colors and create my own shade of grays. The birds have a very soft and a very light feathers. So I am trying to achieve those by adding a simple smaller fine lines by using a very thin brush. Here I am doing the second technique which is very easy to do, which is called wet on dry technique. So in this technique you have to use wet colors directly on your paper. And here I am trying to achieve those feather lines by adding a fine lines with a very thin brush. So when you use a light colors on your paper, you will never go wrong. And if you make any mistake, you can rectify it by using any tissue paper. I am using the same technique which is called wet on dry for the beak area. It requires a lot of patience and focus to achieve those fine lines. So it is very important to have that calm state of mind so that you can make a very fine. Whenever we see any birds, we feel that lightness, we feel that softness, right? So I'm adding a lot of lines to have that soft body, to have that lighter feeling. Eyes is all about expression. So do it very slow. Do not try to make it all the details in one go. To have that softness and to have that lighter body, you have to add lots of lines. So you can just change the colors, add different colors, because hummingbird have lot of different shades in her body. Whenever I used to do a shamanic meditation, I have always heard about spirit animals, spirit birds, and so on. So when I heard this, I felt like creating this artwork. So this is what the calling happened, and I just tried creating this. I was so into this artwork, I didn't even realize I could have easily used phthalo blue for this beautiful bird. But I feel this ultramarine blue is also getting merged easily with the sap green and creating a great effect. I like to sit outside and create an artwork in an open air, enjoying the bird sound, enjoying the windy air. But I must say, when I sit outside, I don't even hear anything because I get immersed completely in my artwork. I forget everything where I'm sitting and I just keep on doing my work. And whenever you get bored, take a break and just come back and create the lines again. This will take a lot of your time, but trust me, have that patience and create and just see the magic. adding some darker shades to have that depth. So you can work on layers. In watercolors, we always work in layers, right? So this is how I am trying to get those feather lines. So I'm using a wet on dry technique and I'm doing it very light. So once I'm very much confident, I can add a darker shade. Here I'm adding a fine lines for the beak with lot of focus and attention, and even I'm using the same brush which is giving me a very fine lines. I have seen many of my students don't like to work on details, but I will say work more on the detailed work because it will give you a lot of clarity in your artwork. I'm adding some fine lines around the eyes to show some details, so you can add as per your convenience. Whenever you see any reference image, you will not see all the details in one go. Take your time and observe well and start creating. You must be thinking, how many lines should I make? It is up to you completely. Do as much you can. As I have already mentioned, in watercolors we always work on layers, and I think this is my third layer, adding those layers to get those feather effect. And whenever you feel you are not able to understand how to make those lines, or you're not able to mix the colors, just experiment in a rough sheet of paper and come back to your main artwork. This has helped me a lot, so this is a small suggestion for you all. Here I felt I could have added some more colors, so I'm just adding some sap green and I'm going to use some ultramarine blue to have some bright shades. Initially when I started this artwork, I thought I will only create a hummingbird, but then I felt something is missing, so I have created a beautiful flowers so that it have a beautiful connection with the hummingbird. Here I am not thinking much about the techniques, I am just going with the flow to create those beautiful flowers. In my childhood days, I have created a lot of flowers and leaves and grasses. So you can apply those techniques and those learnings here and complete your flowers and leaves. Adding depth and shadows will definitely going to add the beauty for the flowers. So just try to do whatever is possible and whatever you feel right. You can add some birds and you can add a lot of details for the grasses and leaves. Here I'm trying to add some more colors because my main character of this painting is hummingbird. So I really want this hummingbird to stand out in this artwork. And I felt when I started using these brighter colors, my hummingbird is just looking awesome and amazing. Have you ever imagined why this bird is called hummingbird? Because of the humming sound created by their beating wings. And it has sensitive visual and communication abilities and long distance migration in some species. All these details are adding so much of beauty to this beautiful bird. And here I am feeling so much of happiness, the feeling of satisfaction and joy within. Whenever you are at the end stage of your artwork, you feel a lot of joy and satisfaction. And do try this out and let me know how you felt. We are having a heavy rains here and you could hear a rain sound behind this voiceover. So I hope you will feel proud for this beautiful bird you were able to create today. But more importantly, I hope you had fun doing it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this tutorial, please consider subscribing to my channel so that I can continue to help you discover your artistic side.